Hello YouTubers, Draws here, back with more Satisfactory. Um, I've done a little bit of work. My main factory here, right by the space elevator. There's been a update, and they've made a few changes. Probably the biggest change they made is that the Mark IV belts and Mark V belts are now faster. Mark IV belts used to be 450, but they've bumped it up to 480. And that kind of corresponds to if you used to have Mark II miners and overclock them to 200%, they would produce 480 a minute, but the belt only took 450, so you really couldn't use all of it. I'm not sure how much the Mark III miners make. I haven't made one yet. The Mark V belts were originally 660, but they've been bumped to 780 a minute. So that's a nice little buff. Definitely makes figuring things out a little easier. 480 is it's a multiple of what the miners produce, so it just makes transporting things that much easier. So I built a lot, and then I took a break and saved my game and came back later, and that the update happened, and I had trouble loading my game. As you can see, I've gotten it loaded, but I had to do some tricky things, such as like limiting the game to only use one CPU while loading. I have multiple cores with my CPU, so I had to limit it to only one core. But yeah, we've built all this. This should be making turbomotors once everything is hooked up. I've built a new station, truck station down there for the bauxite. I believe I've powered up the bauxite station, which, well, you can probably actually see it from here if I zoom in. There's the belt coming down. You can't quite see the station, but yeah, it's right behind those trees there. That's the belt coming down from, well, behind the space elevator from where I'm standing. Let's move over here, maybe we... Yeah, you can see the top of the belt right there, then goes down the other side of that cliff to the miner that's up there. So the first step would be go getting the bauxite. We're actually not going to use that much bauxite here. Basically, I'm barely making enough to supply the one turbomotor machine, because that's all this factory ever really was, is make enough. Don't go crazy. We'll go crazy with our north factory. So let's make a tractor, because yeah, that's going to be more than enough for what we need. And actually, let's put the tractor like here. We should have, we have power. We don't have, that's the one thing I didn't do here, is power this up. Where is a power line? There's a power line right behind. Oh, alright. We're going from you to you. Alright, since this is not showing fuel, I'm assuming it's fueling up the truck here. They got this new marker I guess that shows the center of the loading and unloading area. 28? Is that... Okay, it is increasing a bit slowly. I do have a slow belt on here. I don't think a Mark III is going to help, but Mark II will get us a bit faster for now. That was your shadow. Alright. We should be full here. We are full here. Let's get into drive. Let's start recording. And away we go. And bit of saving lag, I think. We'll follow kind of this path a bit, just so collisions are less likely. And as I say that, we come right at the, I believe that was the coal truck. And we're gonna turn here. Oop, not into the pole. And come under here. And we're gonna stay wide of that station. And we're just gonna follow this other truck a bit. Actually getting some decent speed down this hill. In fact, we are gonna... Oh, no, not exactly. I thought that might have been the truck going to our second base. So we're gonna come across here, and you can see up ahead is the station. Now, there is no fuel at that station, but as you can see, we've only used like 7, maybe 10 by the time we get to the station. So we won't really need to provide fuel there. Alright, and now we're just going to come up this hill. And then turn and stop. And it should be loading us. I said it should be loading. Low. That should have been, should be enough time. Why aren't you loading? Why does that look like unloading? Oh, because I did have it wrong, and I just didn't. Oh, get in. Alright, there we go. Have it the right way. Resume recording. Now we're just gonna drive back. So it's a pretty short trip, but I think this maybe is a bit better than belting it the whole way, because that would get a bit messy. Even though we've belted further at our second base, but really these aren't that big of a priority that we need to make sure we have an exact amount per minute, whereas in our second base we're kind of aiming for a certain number of items and just trying to eliminate lag. Well, belts, I'm not sure how they affect lag compared to trucks. I would think trucks with their bit of AI maybe more lag, but belts visually might cause slowdowns, at least when you're looking at them on screen with all the moving items. But I'm not really sure how all that works out. Alright, we're gonna go under these bridges. I actually raised this one here with the limestone on it, because it was a little low. Yeah, probably went a little wide there, but that's alright. Come up here, and we're gonna come around the bush here. And we're gonna unload. And we're gonna say finish recording. We're going to say enable autopilot and get out. And it's going to go. And this is unloading. And it's unloading onto a 450 belt, which is, well, not necessary at all. But I have so much encased industrial beams that it doesn't really make sense to put it on anything less, and I just barely made that. So our bauxite will go all the way up there. And so will we. Missed that wall. Alright. Let's get some power lines or cables, because I apparently am all out. Should be plenty. Back up to the top floor. Almost there. All right. Let's get this started. We're just gonna run some power lines through here a bit for the moment. Okay, go there, and you know, actually from here, I'm not sure where this went. I kind of planned things out, but as I said, that was a few days ago. All right. First things first. Bauxite, which is this, needs to be combined with silica to make actual aluminum sheets. So first we need silica. Silica is made from quartz, which we have right here. It's the purple line kind of below where I'm hanging in midair because of lag again. Oh, there we go. So we have two machines producing silica, 45 per minute. That's 30 quarts per minute. So we're should be using 60 quarts a minute here to produce 90 silica. And this needs 90 silica a minute and 105 bauxite to make 30 aluminum. So let's get that working. Oh, you need to be a Mark II belt, which apparently I need to be more prepared for. Probably have some here, I think. Maybe. Here we go. Sure. You know what? Hey, while I'm here, here's our motors. This was one of the early productions. It's on the second floor. We're making 5 motors per minute. We're gonna need those 5 motors a minute to make turbo motors with. So I have a little belt heel that goes up to conveyor lift all the way up to the top. While we're here, let's hook that up. Then I'll go out this door. And here comes the motors. Now, that whole container was full, so we're getting a lot more than 5 a minute right now. But that's fine. In the long run, that gets 5 a minute. Here they come up the conveyor lift. But let's get back to the aluminum, because if this is only getting 60 a minute instead of 90, that's gonna really affect things. There we go. Yeah, most of this is only running on Mark I belts. It's just a few places like where we need 90 a minute and 105 a minute, but we're only getting 30 a minute out. That 30 a minute out is getting split into two. Because each of these take 15 a minute of aluminum and some copper ingots to make Alclad aluminum sheets. That means we need copper. So, over here we have some copper ore. It's coming into two smelters. Let's power them up. And actually, it's really only this smelter. This smelter makes 30 per minute. This needs 10 per minute, so together these need 20 per minute. So we're taking the 30 per minute here, splitting it 3 ways. 10 goes to each of those, then 10 more goes to this machine, which is making copper wire. Now, it's supposed to make 45, we're only giving it 10, so it should make 30 a minute. We can actually clock it down so it does that. But we have 2 more copper wires, and these will make 90 per minute together, 45 each. Once we power them on. I'm going to clock this guy down to like 60, we'll do 67%, which should be, yeah, 30 a minute. Once the lag clears up. Alright, there it goes. Look at all that copper wire. So we're splitting this output of this one, and we're putting, you know, again, these are Mark I belts. So these are taking 45. You can see that one is nice, you know, 3 in a space, 3 in a space, and then we're taking, you know, we're splitting this so it exactly fills in the spaces. So we have exactly 2 belts of 60 over here. Because over here, we're taking... We're... making... Oh! Yes, that's right. We're supposed to be... We're supposed to be making radio control units. But there's an alternate recipe for them that uses less materials. And the one material here is heat sinks. Now, we're still going to need heat sinks. And that's what these guys are supposed to be making. Not black powder. But this takes plastic. Or rubber. And Alclad aluminum sheets. There's an alternate recipe for that as well. So let's unlock those. Now, I did the research between episodes. But I still have to actually unlock it. We have these medical inhalers that we did the research but never unlocked them. We have alternate high-speed connectors that we also never unlocked, but we have alternate radio control units, which we need heat sinks for. Okay. And alternate heat sinks, which we need Alclad aluminum sheets and wire. Well, let's pick this one. That's the wrong... Here we go. Ooh, I'm almost out of wire. I have a lot of junk in my inventory right now. Well, I do have an open spot. You're probably pretty empty, yeah. let's grab some wire, because that's just useful to have. I think you need it for some of the electric poles. Just made it. Alright, so we got the... Oh. You know, it would help if we turn these on. Alright, so we're producing aluminum sheets now. And we're going to need 100 of these. We're making 30 per minute, 15 a minute each from 2 machines. Now, the output is supposed to be going to these 2 machines that will eventually make the heat sinks. But we're also splitting a little, because I think we're going to have a little more than we need. And that is going this way. These look interesting. And they're eventually going to go into this storage container. And this is big because it's these aluminum sheets that are used to make the Mark III conveyor belt, Mark V conveyor belts. So, yeah, these belts are now backed up because we don't have the right recipe for this. So these are all going to go into storage. So, I'll be back in a few minutes once we have enough. So I'll see you in a second. Okay, it's been a few minutes. Sun is setting, but I think we're ready. We've been producing lots of aluminum plates here. So let's grab some from here. In fact, we're just gonna take all of them, and let's head down to our hub. And of course, as soon as I open that, game decides to save, or I'm assuming it's auto-saving. There we go. One of those, and one of those. And, oh, alternate heat sinks. Yes, it does not launch for those. And I just remembered something. I waited a little longer so that we would have all the aluminum we would need to make the alternate heatsink recipe, but that changed a while ago. You can no longer do that by hand. Oh well. We're also going to unlock the alternate radio control unit recipe. So I'm gonna select that. Oh, I grabbed raw quartz, not the... Okay, well, we are here. I can grab some rubber. Those guys will start up. We can make the normal heatsink recipe. Not all of it, though. So this takes... Alright, let's, not you. You. Let's dump most of this off. Hey, we'll probably need it later. Alright, we'll head up, we'll set the recipe up, and I'll take another small break while we produce 50 heat sinks. The alternate recipe saves a lot of aluminum. So, select recipe. So this takes 4 aluminum and 10 rubber and makes 1 heatsink, where this takes 8 aluminum and 36 wire, but produces 3. And I believe it's also faster. So let's set that on both of these. And have my light on? Yes, I do. So these are now you take 90 wire per minute. Did I not calculate this out right? Oh, you know what? It's probably calculated out right, except that it needs to all be mark 2 belts after here. Alright, we are producing heat sinks at a rate of 15 per minute, 7.5 per minute each. Oh, we should be this produce. Oh, that's what's the efficiency? Efficiency is, well, that should be up now because I should be supplying it with the right number of wires per minute. And while I'm up here, we need the processed or refined quartz. And I do have 2 machines for it because the radio control units also need quartz. Well, they do need quartz. We need the quartz though for just unlocking the alternate recipe. So we'll start that up as well, and we'll pick some up off the belt when we're back in just a few minutes once we have the heat sinks all produced. See you in a second. Alright, we should be good now. Just as a note, these machines here are producing Alclad aluminum at 15 per minute. These heatsink machines want 20 per minute to run at full speed. But we're not going to be running them at full speed because we have 2 here going into one machine, and that machine doesn't need 15 per minute. I think it needs 10. We'll find out in just a minute how many it needs. We're going to take the 27 here, heat sinks that are still awaiting graphics, and, well, you don't need 31 here. And we need the crystals, which have backed up all the way already. And, actually, you just need 50, so let's put the 30 back. And let's go unlock the alternate radio control thingy recipe. Radio control unit. So we need heat sinks, we need our crystals. I'm glad we didn't have to wait for that to come back, but it probably would have come back faster than we got the items. So even if it did have to go, it wouldn't have made that big of a difference. Still have to figure out what happened with the paint here, possibly repaint this. But if I do, that's going to take finding a lot of flowers. Anyway, I did remove the belt for the storage of the aluminum just to get more aluminum to those faster. Let's set your recipe to be the alternate radio control unit. Yeah, and this needs 10 or 12.5 heat sinks per minute. So a little less than what we're producing. We're doing 50. Well, we could do 15. I think we are just giving it enough for 12.5. It needs 1 supercomputer and 30 quartz crystals. Well, we have the quartz crystals ready. And we have these ready. We need the supercomputers. And they're 2 floors down. They're down here. We got a whole big chest full of them. So they're coming up here. And we just need to go across here. Just using Mark 1 belt because I think we just need 1 a minute, or no more than 2 a minute. Not very many a minute. Come on. Show up. There we go. And here they come. Oh, I had another pull there. Look at that. Oh well. So we need 1 1/4 per minute. So the beginning here is going to be the quartz crystals that hold us up a bit, because this is only Mark 1 belt, but that will provide 60, which is much more than the 37.5 per minute we'll need. And we're going to get 3 radio control units. 3.75 per minute. This takes 48 seconds. And this will output over here. And that brings us to the actual turbomotor production. I don't think there's an alternate recipe for this. So this is what we have right now. It needs 7.5 heat sinks. Per minute. Why don't I have heat sinks coming over here? Maybe there is. Okay, let's consult. Your motor, your turbo motor. There is an alternate recipe that I need to unlock. Yeah, that's right. There's like a whole another section of this factory over here that isn't on yet. Okay, let me check this out and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm just finishing up a hard drive research here. It should be done any moment. Let's see what we get. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alternate turbo motor blueprint. Just what we were looking for. Actually, this took quite a few researches to get, but it's worth it. This makes 3 turbo motors at a time. Let's confirm. I'm gonna save this. Just in case anything bad happens. Not that stuff has. I do recall I had a few crashes in the last episode when we were attacking some of those fluffy-tailed hogs or fire spitter guys. But I believe in the patch notes they did say they corrected that. Let's see what we actually need to unlock this. And I've been in a little combat since then and haven't had an issue, so we need 50 motors and 50 radio control units. I thought those were like frames at first because hey, they look like frames. Apparently I have the motors on me, so let's dump those in. Now let's select this milestone. Hopefully I remembered to turn on the radio control unit machine. Oh yes, look at that. Let's take 48 from there and then just 2 of them. Right there. Head back down and unlock this and finish this up. They do look slightly different, but not that different. Alright. If you're talking radio control units, I'm expecting antennas and dials and knobs and stuff. But yeah, a lot of the graphics, they said, are temporary and will be finalized before this gets moved out of the experimental branch. Okay, we want the alternate recipe, which needs motors, radio control units, AI limiters and stators. So we're using all the stators already to make the 5 motors a minute. So we need to make more stators, and that starts off with iron ingots. So the iron ingots here will be used to make iron wire. And the iron ingots here will be combined with coal and not this recipe. There we go. To make steel ingots, which will then make into steel pipe. So we're making 30 steel pipe and just a crazy amount of cable, which well, these don't need to be Mark 3 over here, but it's 67 a minute. And we're going to take 18 steel pipe and 60 wire, which I guess I miscalculated on, because we're making a whole lot more than that. And we're making 6 stators per minute now. Just as soon as it gets filled with. Alright, here comes our stators. They'll be coming all the way around, meeting up with our radio control units, our motors, and coming in here. And all that means is we need some AI limiters, about 7 per minute. So if we head back down to our computer floor, supercomputer floor I should say, is we originally had one AI limiter manufacturer here. And I put in a second, and we're making supercomputers here, but this, we're making 8 and, what is that, 7/8? We only need 1 and 7/8. We only need 1 1/4. So this doesn't have to run at full speed. These don't have enough. Well, these produce 5 per minute. So we're getting 10 per minute now. And that needs 7, and I think this needs 3 3/4. So we're making 10. But because this isn't running at full speed, you see it's only 84% because that's how much is being used. We should be good. We may be slightly underproducing, but alright, we have a belt going up here. You know, but if we're slightly underproducing, it's not that big of a deal. Let's connect this up over here. And yeah, it was kind of awkward. I should have put down a cable pole, belt pole first to get that straight. But you know, I don't really care. We had this all free because this is our Nobelisk and cartridge production that had room left over on this floor. And that comes up right into the back of our turbomotor production. So we just need to connect this to power. And here we go. Since everything's backed up, this will... Well, not everything's backed up. The stators aren't backed up. And this apparently takes 64 seconds. So... Oh, this needs 7.5 stators per minute. Hey, we're making 6. That's okay. We should probably clock this down to like 90%. Say 85%. Of course, this will have to wait. It probably still won't be 6, but you know, it will save us a bit of power. Hopefully this lag will... There we go. And we should be getting turbomotors out right here. Let's make a place to store them. Not vehicles, organization. Not that this is done yet. Or it did just finish. There we go. There's our 3 turbo motors. In another 64 seconds, we should have another 3. And yeah, we could probably go down to 80% here. Come on. 80, there we go. Or put in another machine here. That actually, we have the resources for that, so let's do that. Let's try this side. Are you gonna... You're... That's gonna stop a lot of the factory. There we go. And right there. All right. There we go. let's get some belts. Nope. I'm gonna go there. We'll put a splitter there. Merger. Let's put the merger right there. You too steep. Yeah, it's close, but you know what? That's alright. And let's just set your recipe to stator, not alternate stator. And wait for the lag to disappear. Alright. That should be good. Actually, I could have just did one of each of these machines into each of those. These need 18 per minute. We're building 15 for each. So we're probably only getting 5 a minute out of each of these instead of 6 once this backup will disappear, but that's okay because that would be 10 a minute over there and that only needs 7.5. Yeah, so hey, we're making turbomotors and radio control units, and there's really only one other thing. We're not making them fast, but hey, we are making them. There are batteries. Oh, and let's, batteries need the aluminum clad sheets that... Oh, here they come. And, among other things. So we could actually have some battery production off of here, but I think I'll do a separate line for that. In the meantime, let's connect this up here, because hey, I mean, we're backing up here in these machines, so don't think we need all this production. But like I said, hey, we've accomplished the turbomotors, so that'll be it for this episode. I'm not really sure how long this episode will be. It took me quite a while to get the research. I thought I had all the researches, but I missed the turbomotor one before starting here. It'll probably be a bit of time before I do another episode. This week here is Games Done Quick. Check them out at gamesdonequick.com. It's a charity speedrunning marathon. So I'll be busy watching that. I may get an episode out by next weekend, though. Not sure if I'll do batteries or if I'll try to work on uranium. But I'll just end with thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time with more Satisfactory. I'll see you then.